about Walker Hayes, everybody?
Yeah!
We got a motor.
We're taking to Daytona in February. All right, y'all ready?
Turn the radio on, there was country music I listened to.
Get ready for the finest in musical entertainment and racing on anything on wheels. Ladies and gentlemen, get in tune and start your engines because Music and Motors is now.
Hello everyone and welcome to Music and Motors. I'm Wade Hayes and it seems like it was just yesterday when I showed up in this town with a dream, my guitar, and an old pickup truck. You have to be ready to pay some dues and take the bad with the good. Phoenix Mendoza is rising above all the negative aspects of the music business and is not afraid to get his hands dirty to hammer out a living to make ends meet while pursuing his dreams.
I'm actually pretty comfortable with a saw and a hammer. And the reality of the situation is the music business, it's up, it's down, you're in, you're out, it's that quick.
Brad Baker is optimistic about some promising new sponsors for the 2009 racing season and is eager to get back behind the wheel of the 37 car. Now, the boys are hard at work and we're glad you came along right here on Music and Motors.
Crank it up and turn it loose and don't look back.
This portion of Music and Motors is brought to you in part by your local Ford dealers and by your local genuine Ford parts and service dealer. You're watching Music and Motors.
Drivers Brad Baker and Jason Keller know that the key to any winning strategy lies in the hands of their team.
Everybody on the team wears a lot of different hats, and these guys do a great job. They're busy 24 hours a day when we're at the racetrack. Sometimes they'll spend 18 hours at the track. So they've got a tough job not only on the pit stops, but also when the car's behind the wall in the garage, getting ready for practice and qualifying, and of course the race.
Hello, I'm John Reese, jackman for the 27 Clean X Ford Fusion. This stop right here is where we jack the car up. There's one on each side of the car, or the center of the car. So what you do, you'll stab it, and then one pump, car's up off the ground.
I'm Butch Wall. What I do is me and the rear tire changer jump over the wall together, go to the right side of the car. He takes the lug nuts off. The jackman pulls the rear tire. I install the right rear, and we go around the left side of the car and do the same thing. I do all the gears, rear ends, anything to do with the rear end of the car, I pretty much do. It makes it difficult sometimes when you compete against these other guys that have all the funds, and they have 7 guys that come to the track on Saturday to just pit the car, and that's all they do for that team. That's where we work in the shop. We go on the road early. We have to do the pit stops. You have to find time to do everything, and it's kind of hard sometimes. Especially if you wreck a car or something like that, you kind of come back and rebuild something. But you can't take anything for granted, so you have to do everything to the fullest. If you're slacking somewhere, they'll definitely find it.
Tune. They gave me the nickname Tune. We were out at Las Vegas and that was our taxi cab driver. I don't know how it really stuck with me. If somebody's behind, I'll help put rear ends on their cars, or I'll help put a motor in, or I'll go the setup plate and help the setup guy out, get them ready. All around guy. On the pit crew, I change rear tires. Me and Donnie are the changers, and with the impact wrench, I use about 110 pounds of air. It's all really in the feel of your hands and your gun, of when you got them tight. If you leave one loose, of course, that'll be a penalty. You'll have to come back in, you'll get chewed out by your crew chief, and luckily that hadn't happened yet. But we practice every day for, ow!
He jinxed. The only reason I did it, he jinxed us. Right there. We're jinxed.
We also have a lot of fun here. My name's Donnie Eves. I'm the front tire changer on the number 27 Ford Fusion in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. At the racetrack, I'm the front tire changer, and I set up the pit areas before we have the race. My job here at the shop consists of working on the interiors of the car. I do all the decal work, and I help Butch do some of his rear suspension stuff when he's busy with other things. Now these lug nuts, they're glued on with a contact adhesive. You put the glue on around the edge here, and then when the glue's on, you line it up with the hole like that. When you put the tire on the studs, the lug nut actually comes out, and there's glue in between the lug nut and the hub, and it keeps it held on to the hub. That way, when the tire changer hits it with the gun, it just spins on.
I started at Bruco 9 years ago.
Once he finally started winning.
About the third week I was there, somebody called me Mississippi because there was 3 Jasons there. And it's been stuck. They've called me that ever since. This year is my first year off the road, so I could stay home with wife and kids. I got a 2-year-old at home now. I didn't have enough of it, but I wanted to do something a little different. And then we needed, somebody here with a little bit of experience to prepare the cars to get them ready for the racetrack, that way there wasn't no problems at the racetrack when they got there. Normally, catch can, first thing we'd do regardless is plug the catch can into here. That way the gas can man can plug his can in. And what it does, it opens this vent up inside here, which opens the vent up inside the fuel cell, which allows air to escape when the fuel is being dumped in, because there's 11 gallons being dumped in at one time.
David Colanisi. I used to be the shortest guy in the shop, and I'm the youngest. I'm the front tire carrier. He follows the front tire changer, and when the front tire changer pulls his tire off, I put it on, and then we'll go to the left side and do the same thing. I just take care of the inside of the car, all the electrical, anything inside the car basically, and driver comfort. In a family car, the seats move, and you can put the seats where you want. Well, these seats are actually stationary according to how the driver likes to sit. The steering wheel is set for the driver as well, and of course you got a 6-point harness. Now a lot of people are going to carbon fiber seats because they're supposed to be a lot safer, because they're actually one big huge shell. There's not a lot of welding to them. This is actually the Hans device. These are mandatory. They actually started using these after Dale Sr. had his crash, and they became mandatory along with full-faced helmets. They set on the neck, and these clips will strap to the helmet. That way the driver, his head can't actually go any farther than these clips will allow. It's kind of like a head and neck restraint, basically to keep from injury or death.
This portion of Music and Motors is brought to you in part by your local Ford dealers and by your local genuine Ford parts and service dealer. You're watching Music and Motors.
Well, pit crews, of course, are a very important part of the team. They've got to have a lot of courage to stand in there and do what they do, and I'm very appreciative for what they do. I don't think I would ever want to do that, sit there with those cars coming by.
These very talented bunch of young men are determined to be a winning team. With their enthusiasm, skill, and technical knowledge, they insist on beating all odds. They have to wear many hats to accomplish the numerous tasks of a full racing team.
Those seconds in the pit stop, on a pit stop, translates to several hundred yards on a racetrack. So it makes a big difference in the outcome of the race, how fast these guys are on pit road. And that's why you see them working out That's why you see them spend so much time practicing right outside here.
Here at Baker Curb, we work out every day that we're in town from 10:30 to 11:30 with weights. We do cardio, we do a lot of agility things. We try to put a big emphasis on it. You know, we have a smaller team, so we have to work in the shop also and work out. In my personal opinion, I think it's really, really key because you're competing against a lot of really, really athletic guys out there that have played, you know, professional sports or at a really high level in college, you know, football and different types of things. And the better shape you're in, I think the better you can perform, the better you can think.
Other well-financed teams in NASCAR have designated personnel assigned for each task. Baker Curb Racing have dedicated men like Murdoch, whose jobs include truck driver, cook, organizer, pit crew gas man, and sometimes social coordinator at the racetrack.
The setup plates that they set the cars up on are certified to be level to 1/1000th of an inch. At any point on there, 1/1000th.
Boy, you are detailed and precise.
That's what a race team is. I mean, you have to realize that our engines are in tolerances of 100,000ths of an inch, a tenth of a second to us in speed. If we can gain that, it is a huge advantage. They work with choreographers to where they all come off the wall at the same step, the same gait, the same distance. It's measured. They should be able to go 1, 2, 3 steps, and they should be at, and if not, why doesn't it?
I'm curious, Gary, as an owner, do you have to understand all this engineering and aerodynamics and physics and all of that?
Do I have to understand it all? Absolutely not. But, I have enough working knowledge to be dangerous about it. I've been around it a little while, even back in we were talking about experience I had down here at the track, driving back in the 80s, but some of the aerodynamics and stuff, some of that stuff still carries over. A lot of it doesn't. That's why this sport is rapidly getting into the hands of the engineers. And I'm talking about graduate degree engineers and aeronautical engineering and mechanical engineering and all that stuff that this old attorney CPA background education just doesn't measure up. I can get real dumb real quick around those guys. Real
You seem
dumb.
like you know a lot. That's why I asked.
The main thing I'm worried about is Charlie now. I mean, Lorraine, you're going to be so intelligent about this sport, and poor Charlie's just going to be out.
Just so you know, I've always been smarter anyway.
Oh, okay. That's sort of come across a few times. But if Brad comes in, nose to tails another car, and we're 1 second slower in the pits than another car, when we go back out, the other car is a full football field in front of him, and you've lost the draft and you're toast. That's why every pit stop is filmed. You'll see tonight every pit stop is filmed. After the pit stop, it's analyzed. This one went right, or no, something went wrong, and this one we've got to get it corrected. Not before next week, but before the next pit stop in 30 laps.
No pressure.
Hey, stay right there. We got more coming up right here on Music and Motors.
This portion of Music and Motors is brought to you in part by your local Ford dealers and by your local genuine Ford parts and service dealer.
Phoenix Mendoza has done all the right things to make it in the music business. He's writing great songs with his mentors, Josh Leo, songwriter Rick Bowles, and Warner Chappell Vice President of A&R, Koss Weaver.
Great news. I just got a phone call from Koss, and 3 months swinging a hammer, doing song and stuff, and he went to bat for me, as he's been doing the entire time I've known him, and I got my publishing deal back, so no more hammering. Ha-ha!
He knows exactly who he is as an artist. And even though when I met him, he was still in a developmental stage, you could tell he knew who he was and who he wanted to be.
Koss called me up and said, I've just met with this guy. I'm not sure. There's something about him. And that's what he said. He said, not sure, but there's something about this guy that just says that he's a star. I don't know what it is. I said, well, have you heard? And I really haven't heard that much stuff, and played me a couple things, but no, it's just something about him. Would you go to lunch with him? And I said, sure, why not? I'll go to lunch, you know.
Whatever the it factor is, he has that. When you see him live, he loves the stage and the stage loves him.
I had lunch with him, one lunch. He didn't play me any songs. He didn't sing any notes. And I left the lunch going, there's something about this guy that's a star. And I called Koss and I said, I know what you mean, there's something about him. He said, have you heard him sing? No, I haven't heard him sing. He could be horrible for all I know, but I'm telling you, there's something. And he said, yes, there's something about this guy. I don't know what, I can't put my finger on it.
He loves playing little intimate settings where there's 40 people in a room and it's just him and his acoustic, but he's ready for the arenas too, you know. He's not afraid of any size crowd.
So I called up Phoenix and said, there's another guy that wants to write with you that's very talented. His name is Kevin Fisher. It was like shot out of a cannon, bam. One day, Sweet Sunshine just bam, comes out. And we have since written about 3 or 4 more of those, and every time we get together.
You know, Kevin brought some ideas, Josh brought some ideas, I brought some ideas, and we really couldn't get anything in the room, so we decided to take a step outside, and over at Josh's studio where we write, we get together and write, there's this rock that's out front of his studio, and I call it my thinking rock. And anytime I can't think of anything, I go stand on top of that rock and I just think. As I stood up on that rock, I was just looking up at the sky, and then the clouds just kind of broke up just a little bit, and I got hit with a ray of sunshine right in my face. And I was like, ah, sweet, sweet sunshine. I was like, wait, I think I have the idea, guys. I think I want to write a song about the simple bliss of sunshine.
There's one thing to be a great singer or even to be a talented songwriter, but the artist thing is a whole nother thing, and there's a work ethic that's involved there too.
They've got something a little bit different to their personality that people kind of catch on and remember. Some of the other people are great singers, but they don't have anything that distinguishes them between them and the other 49,000 that are trying to do this. So I think being focused, but yet not being afraid to be different.
You gotta love it, you know, and I could just tell Phoenix was probably doodling his logo on his notebook when he was in the 7th grade, probably, you know. Just that kind of kid. He just loves it.
If I was a betting man, would I bet on Phoenix making the big time? Absolutely.
Getting a meeting for a record deal is an exciting time for an artist, and today Phoenix will get to do his thing for Tracy Lawrence and his brother and business partner Laney at the record label Rocky Comfort Records on Music Row.
Things are steadily progressing as far as the music career goes. I am getting to meet amazing people. We're getting into all kinds of labels, and we got to go meet Tracy Lawrence and play for him in he founded a new record label, him and his brother did. So we got to go show him our stuff and kind of pitch the artist idea to him, and we got a great response, I thought.
It's a tough business, and you really got to be committed to something before you sign off on it. So, I'm going to do everything I can to help Phoenix get to that next level.
The last thing you want to do, I think, is jump into anything on both sides. As an artist, you just think about, give me a record deal, anywhere. Oh yeah, great. You can talk to a lot of artists who will say, I wish I would have taken my time a little bit. Because chances are, if someone is willing to give you the money, there's someone else that's also willing to give you the money. So you need to do your homework.
Anytime you're playing for a label, you're potentially asking somebody for $1 million. You're saying, I think I'm worth $1 million, do you want to give it to me? And so when you go play for these individuals and you're sitting there and it's you and the acoustic guitar, it can be kind of nerve-wracking. If you cannot sit there in a room and play an acoustic guitar and hold someone's attention, then you have a lot of work to do. So I focused on that the entire time I was here for the first couple of years. So I feel pretty comfortable playing an acoustic guitar, and then you put a guy like Josh Leo behind you, and you feel real comfortable because he's just an amazing player. And then you got Koss, who's just fighting for you every way. And you forget about it. After the first couple notes, you're into your groove. It's the anticipation of that moment that can get a little scary.
Well, that's the music business. You just never know what might happen. Now, Phoenix is on the right track, but it's still a gamble and a waiting game. Well, that's it for this week's show. I'm Wade Hayes, and we hope to see you here next week on Music and Motors.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
It's all about getting better and feeling good.
You know, if I don't perform a job, I am replaceable.
He's back there doing this.
So, I mean, that's just.
I know I have to be successful because I ain't giving up, and I can do real work. I'm not afraid of it.
Boogie, boogie, boogie.